The television industry is well known for its special effects, and M.Magazine is no exception. But tonight we'll be talking with the two men who have created all the special effects for the James Bond movies. They've been at it since 1962, and tonight M.Magazine's Dave Sisson meets up with this talented pair and gets to see a few examples of their work.
Everyone knows Sean Connery and Roger Moore, but what about Maurice Bender and Ken Adam? No, they aren't the stars of some obscure James Bond film never released in this country, but there are those who say they are the real stars of the Bond films. You see, Maurice Bender does the titles for the Bond films. He created the familiar shot down the barrel of a gun.
I get the impression that doing Bond titles is one of your favorite things, is it?
Well, it is. It is one of my favorite things. And every 2 years, it's a music plus, but I never know. They may not ask me to do the next one. You know, I've done a batch of them.
Who's the real star of Moonraker? Is it Roger Moore, or is it the set design?
It's probably Ken Adam, because his sets are fantastic, you know. And
well, the visual is very important in a Bond film, but I don't think one can put it down who's the real star of it. I think the Roger as Bond and Sean as Bond were probably the most important aspect of a Bond film, because they are the catalyst to pull the whole film together. Obviously, the visual element has become more and more important, and that can be divided into action sequences, sets, props, gadgetry, and locations.
Ken Adam creates the spectacular and expensive look of the whole movie. Ken Adam is also responsible for designing some of the exotic gadgets for which the Bond films are famous, like the car that turned into a submarine. Ken Adam is a compulsive doodler whose scribbles turn into elaborate sets. He now adds the sets for the current Bond film, Moonraker, to his long list of credits. It took 220 people 8 weeks to build the 3-tier space station, during which time 100 tons of metal, 2 tons of nails, 10,000 feet of wood, and enough electronic paraphernalia to equip 4 jumbo jets was used. It all began with a Ken Adam doodle.
This was my sketch for the interior of the command center inside the space station. So I start off with a black and white sketch like this.
Do you mind looking at some clips, and we'll see, maybe you could describe what we're seeing here and what went into the set design.
This is, I think the first revelation of the space station, and I think that came off very well. In other words, I thought it was a mistake to establish the whole space station at once. So we revealed it with the light of the sun catching it and finally exposing the whole station. And that was shot at Pinewood by Derek Meddings, our special effects director. That obviously was a model, pretty large model, about 30 feet across.
Did you have to go to NASA to do research? The craft you use is very much like the shuttlecraft.
That really is about the only prop that we really based on exactly on the NASA space shuttle.
The weightless love scene in Moonraker may have looked like fun, but the actors had to be suspended by painful corsets to create the illusion of weightlessness.
It was agony for them, because to be on that corset, suspended, you know, or attached to a steel arm for any length of time, becomes pretty uncomfortable.
Do you get lots of complaints from the talent when they have to go through all these gyrations?
Yeah.
The destruction of the expensive Moonraker set was no laughing matter, however. The actual set was destroyed, not a model of the set, and it was dangerous.
And that's the first time we've ever done that. It was quite hair-raising. The set, in fact, did catch fire, and it took them practically all night to control that fire.
Maurice Bender, in making the titles for the Bond movies, has a lot to do with shaping their style. Some people get as much kick out of the titles as they do the movies themselves. It's in the titles where you'll find the closest thing to nudity in the Bond films.
Roger was interviewed in Rio. He said, they asked, what about the nudity in Bond films? He says, no nudity in Bond films, just in the titles. And that's, you know, that's where the nudie girls are, mainly. That's part of the perks of my job is to pick the girls, those beautiful girls you see swinging, flying through space in the titles, and I also have to direct the sequence with the gun barrel at the beginning, which is a design that I did for the trademark picture. And every time we change James Bond, why it has to be a new trademark. But right now it's Roger Moore, and I hope he will continue that way. But we did Sean Connery and George Lazenby and so forth and so on. Moonraker, for instance, which is our current picture. The girls are doing a space ballet and flying around the moon and the stars and so forth. And The Spy Who Loved Me, it was Marvin Hamlish's Nobody Does It Better, and Roger Moore and I had some fun on the stage pushing girls around. And we did 2 days of shooting with Roger, and he was very cooperative, and we all had a lot of fun doing it. But Moonraker is the one that we're really concerned with now, and that was the space ballet, and those girls were nude, but nicely done.
The Bond films have won a reputation for being nicely done, and now you know two men who are responsible for the look of the films, Maurice Bender and Ken Adam. You can pretty much count on a new James Bond film coming out every couple of years. Serious film critics may scoff at these fantastic, escapist films, but the rest of us love them and keep coming back for more, because each one seems to top the last. Ken Adam and Maurice Bender deserve lots of the credit.
If you're the sort of person who never gets tired of James Bond movies, you're in luck because he's got another one in the making. It's called For Your Eyes Only. We'll be right back tonight with more on TV8's PM Magazine.